Hey, good evening. It's Saturday evening, May 2nd. Going to end the week. Hey, if you were looking for this morning's video, you didn't miss it. I just didn't do it. What I did was the parenting workshop, which is on Worldview, and I'm going to talk about that tonight. So you can check out the workshop this morning. It's also on the YouTube channel that under a playlist for workshops, because those are important too. But anyway, so I didn't do the video this morning, but I am doing it tonight. And I'm going to give you a little brief capsule of what we talked about this morning and make up for not doing that. So anyway, thanks for your patience and understanding. So what I talked about this morning and what I want to leave us with tonight for heading into Lord's Day tomorrow and to think about God is we need a worldview in our lives which prepares us for worship. Because as God's creatures, as people have been redeemed by Him, as people were created by Him, we were created primarily for worship. And everything else flows from that. Romans 12:1 drives that point home. But our life is to be about worship, all of it. There's nothing that you and I do that should not be about worshiping and honoring God. There's nothing that we should do that doesn't result in the praise of His name and building His reputation on the planet and with those that we interact with. And so I took the example this morning of when Paul went to Mars Hill and he spoke to all these brilliant philosophers and thinkers, people who even had the power of life and death over him, and he described God to them, and he did it giving what I think is the best basis of a Christian worldview. So he started explaining to these men, and this is just a short version. He explained to these great thinkers that God is in control of the world. Everything He is in control of, even down to where they live and they take in the next breath. And this control is for one purpose. And that one purpose is that perhaps people will reach out to Him to know Him. And the reason this planet exists one day to the next is God still has people that He wants to save. So building a worldview platform here, we understand God's control, and we want to be in line with that control and be involved in His mission so that our reason, our thoughts, our life, our mission is about God's mission. So the first building block then of this worldview that is going to serve us now well in the dealing with the virus or anything else we deal with is God is in control. That needs to lead us to an attitude and a response of praise. Because God only does great things. So this control that He's doing is about to bring us to the point of praising Him for His greatness. God's awesome display of power all around us. Everything He does brings praise to His great name. So we have God's control for the purpose of bringing people to Himself. That leads us to praise because we know that that's what He's about. And then the third tier of this foundational worldview is gratitude. God doesn't treat me as my sins deserve. I'm part of His plan. I'm part of what He wants. I see His work in my life. I can praise Him. So His control, His actions bring about praise. And that brings me to a heart of gratitude that God does great, wonderful things. And then the fourth component of this worldview to prepare us for this life that we're dealing with right now is one of prayer. All I can do is respond to God in gratitude. And the example that I gave in the workshop this morning is this kind of prayer I'm talking about is a little child, like a little child walking with his dad. I remember my kids doing this with me. And they reach up and they hold on to my hand and they start talking. And they'd ask me questions about everything. And there's no way your little children can ask too many questions because you want to be there for them. You want to let them know that you want to point them to God. And that's the way we need to be with God, holding on to His hand and talking to Him and asking Him questions because there's a whole bunch of stuff in life that we don't understand, but we know He has the answer. And there's that trust. So this is the four foundations then of this worldview which will carry us forward. God is in control to bring about what He wants and bring about a people for Himself. Next, we can praise Him because He's faithful to His promise. We can be grateful that He's being faithful, and we can interpret life through that beautiful grid. And then as I struggle with life, as I want to make sense of life, as I want to delight in God, I talk to Him. this is a worldview which will serve us well. Make us be faithful servants of our King. So rest on that this night as you prepare for worship tomorrow, and as you get ready to enter into a new week. This worldview of acknowledging God's control, praising Him for His greatness, being grateful for His faithfulness, and talking to Him about it all, that will give us the mindset we need, the worldview that we need to bring honor and praise to our great King. So that's my thought for tonight. It really is a cool thought. May the Lord bless you, and may your worldview conform more and more to the joy of what it means to walk after God. You have a great day, and I'll be back on Monday morning. Pursue the Lord tomorrow in worship, in corporate worship, but pursue Him every day in your life as worship. Have a great night. Bye-bye.